Watch me now. Watch me now.
All right, hello and welcome back to Big Business Energy. Now, this week, my guest, I am doing a Q&A. Truth be told, we just didn't have the budget to have a guest this week, didn't have any time, couldn't line anyone up, but it's all good. We are here, we're getting it done. I chucked up on my Instagram. If you're not following me, head over to @HaveYouMetJaiden and ask you guys to ask me a bunch of questions about anything. And I was actually really surprised. The feedback we got was incredible, and some of the questions we got were really cool. And I thought, let's answer these. I think it'll be cool for you guys to get to know me a little bit more. And I figured there was some real diverse questions here as well. So thank you to everyone who did ask a question. And I actually really enjoy doing these Q&A sort of types of things and being a little bit more raw with you guys. So hopefully you guys enjoy it and you get a bit of value out of this. And hopefully I answer your questions. So without further ado, let's get into some of the questions that we asked. Okay, I'm going to try and keep this one as short as possible. Advice for real estate agents and content. Okay, first thing I think you need to do is be consistent. So some people and some agents have built their reputation enough where they know they don't need necessarily social media to, make sales and leverage their brand and do all that. Their word of mouth, their quality of work and everything, they've built that reputation already within the industry that they don't necessarily need that. They should use it, but they don't necessarily need it. Then you've got things like if you're a fresh, new, hungry agent or you're looking to prove yourself, whatever it may be, you're in a new area, new whatever, I highly recommend you use social media to leverage yourself and get ahead, because social media is still going to be the best place for you to get the most amount of eyeballs on your personal brand as an agent, the agency, and any of your listings and things like that. However, what I do think is you need to have a unique selling point. You need to have something that is different. You need to be the agent that is different, because at the end of the day, you could be agent number 1 in Brisbane, you could be agent number 5, 50, 500, whatever it may be. I don't think people necessarily care anymore. They care more about what this person is like. People at the end of the day do business with people. So if you're the agent that is funny, if you're the agent that does boxing, if you're the agent that does social sport, who loves racing, who's into cars, whatever it may be, showcase that. Don't be scared to. Showcase your personality and showcase who you are as a person and an agent, in addition to your agent. But do it in a way that you're not directly shouting and selling down people. Having those posts where it's like for sale and sold and, oh my God, 4-bed, 2-bath, they're boring. They're oversaturated. Everyone's doing them. So stand out, do something different, and still do those things, but in a unique way, in your way, in a way that's different to you, Sell without selling. I'm a huge advocate of that. Even just something as simple as at an auction day, showcase your behind the scenes, how hard you work behind the scenes of an auction, and showcase all the steps and everything that you do. People are going to be like, damn, this guy works really hard on this auction. He's going to do that for my house. He's going to do that for whatever house, So showcase those sorts of things. Keep consistent with your content. There are so many services out there. Get a videographer, a photographer, whatever you need, an agency that can get you on a retainer, whatever it may be, to just hold you accountable and keep that consistency. Because once you've nailed your content and you've got started, now it's just about keeping consistent with it, right? And then the last one is, like I said, if you can invest in those things, invest in a proper service like that. A videographer, get a retainer so you can get consistent monthly content that's fresh and it's modern, or even look at, if you can afford it, hire something internal. Again, it's just going to bring value to you. So there's a couple of options. That's personally what I would do. Okay, question number 2. Do you set boundaries around work time versus personal time? If so, what are they? Look, I've gotten a lot better. Recently, I do. So sort of once it hits about that 8 o'clock mark, unless the edit needs a really fast turnaround, I will then, once it hits 8 o'clock, I will generally then go have a shower and chillax, and that's sort of me time. That's sort of what I do personally. I also like to go to gym in the middle of the day because I'm at my computer a lot, whether it's in the morning and in the afternoon. I feel like gym in the middle of the day is like that good break. I get to move my body, get to go have a breather, and it just sort of gives my mind a bit of a refresh and gets my body moving because I'm at the computer so much on those editing days. In terms of the boundaries, so I think, even now I still work on weekends and things like that. It's just sort of part of the game, I guess, of the industry that I'm in, but I try to avoid it if I can. And I try and keep one day free, usually like a Sunday or something that's like a me day. So I'll like go to gym, I'll go get a massage or a sauna or go for a walk on the beach, spend some time with friends, have lunch, whatever it may be, just to take some time and really chillax. But I will be honest, I've been guilty in the past to have not been as balanced and really been in like this like tunnel vision mode of just work, work, work. And I wouldn't lie, it affected a lot of my relationships, with the person that, people I've dated, from my relationship with friends and family and things like that as well, because I would always just be working. It would come late at night, they've finished work as well. All you want to do is sit down, have dinner together, watch telly, but then I'd be still editing all through the night, and they're in bed and it's 10:30, and you haven't spent any time together, you barely see each other. So I think just having someone who understands that it's okay to do that sometimes and push sometimes, because that's how we progress and get better in that, but also understanding when to take your foot off the gas pedal and actually take a minute, have a breath, spend quality time with the people that matter most to you, and just actually having that break. And often, a lot of times, it doesn't seem like it at the time, but you actually do feel a lot better afterwards, and you feel a lot more productive when you then go and do get back into that work, because you've had that time to rest and recover, recuperate, chill your mind out, stop your eyes from getting square, whatever it may be, and just go back into it. So yeah, I'm better with it now, but back in the day, guilty. All right, question number 3. How do you shoot and edit your fitness videos? So for me, fitness videos I absolutely love. I think one of the key elements that I like to do is I like to do handheld, and then I like to follow the movement. So if there's like a ball slam and they're going up and down or left or right, whatever it may be, whatever the movement is and whatever way it's going, I like to follow that with the camera. Because I feel like just that sporadic movement and the movement of the camera with the action of what's happening looks really, really cool. And then just in terms of editing and things like that, it's just getting creative with the edit. I like to keep it quite hyped, quite frantic, and like everything like that, because fitness is generally like that. But then there's also really, really cool times where you can sort of like pull back, have those more static shots, and just get a little bit more creative with it, slower paced. So I think it really just depends on your style, what the overall objective and idea is for the video, and the style and things like that. But yeah, that's generally how I do it. Question number 4, why can't we hire good staff? Okay, I think there are a couple of really important things here. Number 1 is, if you're hiring staff, whether that's on seek.com or whatever it may be, how are you showing them? If you have a cool workplace that people want to work, if you have really cool benefits or the pay is really good, showcase those things in the ad. And more importantly, look at creating a video. All these cool places that you see, they have epic hiring videos, they have epic, we are hiring, whatever it may be, campaigns and videos that really make them stand out, that make people want to apply. And showcase those reasons that you are a really good. We have cool, employee benefits. You get to maybe, travel the world. You get Friday afternoon drinks with the team. You get a gym membership included. Whatever it may be, the cool benefits of why someone would want to work for you and not the competitor. Showcase that. Which then brings me on to the second thing is, what is your workplace culture like? My previous job, I was lucky that I got along really well with my boss, and the workplace culture was epic. I brought that same, notion over to when I started my businesses, and I've had staff, that I wanted to have the best work culture. I wanted people to come to Monday and be like, fuck yes, I'm keen to go to work. So how can you bring that energy into your workplace? Is it, social sports? Is it a gym membership? Is it wellness? Is it yoga? Is it cool Friday afternoon drinks? Is it cool trips away for the bestseller that month? Whatever it may be, have a cool workplace, a cool vibe to work. Every Thursday, the boss shouts lunch to the team, whatever it may be. Just little things like that. And just things that are going to be, you're going to want any employee that wants to work for you. Clients are going to see it and be like, wow, their workplace is so cool. Other companies wish they were at your workplace and wish they had your culture because it was so cool. Anything like that, that's what I think you should be doing. So If you can't hire staff, maybe look at that. And then more importantly, good staff, honestly, I hate to break it to you, but you're just going to have to pay for it. If you want good people, you're going to have to fucking pay good money for it. Just the name of the game. All right, next question. How do you get all your guests on the podcast? So a lot of it is I've tapped into a lot of friends networks and things like that and just outreached to a lot of people saying like, hey, can you get me in touch with this person? I'd love to have them on the podcast, yada, yada, yada. Or I know them personally. And that's basically been the majority of the guests coming up and the ones currently. And then from there, it's just people within my community that I've followed for a really long time that I personally admire. I will, just literally cold outreach to them, buy them a coffee, have a chat to them first. And then after that, once I've got that in and got that relationship, then I will ask them to come on the podcast and chat a little bit more. So that's generally how I do it. But yeah, that's how I get most of my guests. Our next question, this one's a bit brutal. Why do you go gym? You're not even big, bruh. I don't even know where to start with that, to be honest. But the first and foremost reason that I go to gym is mainly just the mental aspect of it. That when I go there, that's me time. I can smash that workout out. It makes me feel good. That endorphin release and everything like that just makes me feel really, really good. And I can get on with the day and absolutely smash it. So that's what I really, really like. The second one is I do it for, yes, the mental aspect, but I also like what it brings to the table when you go see clients. If I'm well groomed, I'm well dressed, well spoken, and I look good, I take care of myself, 9 times out of 10 clients are also thinking, okay, fuck, this guy takes care of himself. I know he can take care of me. It's just like this placebo effect that goes on with clients is that if you look good and well presented and you take care of yourself and you're well dressed and whatever it may be, that they're like, okay, I trust this guy to be able to take care of myself because he's clearly got his shit in order. So that's another big thing. And then the other one is just because all of my friends and things like that are within the fitness industry, they all are PTs, whatever it may be, that I naturally then just gravitated towards into that and to living more of an active and healthy lifestyle. And to be honest, I love it. I really, really enjoy it. And I think the goal is to definitely have that as part of my life for the rest of my life. So, and then I guess the last one as well is also you just want to look good naked. You want to feel good about yourself. You want to bring that more confident. If you look good and you've got, nice, a good physique or whatever it may be, whether it be meet more women or guys, whatever it may be, you're going to look better, feel better. And you're just going to have that confidence about you as well. So I think all of that in combined with good mentality, with the clients, with my friends, all of that combined just equals why I work out. What's your dream client? I think dream client in terms of video is I want to do larger scale productions, anything that's creative and clever. So anything that has a bit more humor and creativity in it, any like TV commercial or product, whatever it may be, where you can have a bit of a laugh or a bit of fun with it, and it's got a really creative, and people watch that ad on TV or on their pre-roll ads on YouTube or on social media, whatever it may be, and they're sitting there and they're like, that was a funny ad, I get that is funny, that's what I want. Because 9 out of 10 ads these days, I sit there and I'm like, that was the fucking stupidest ad I've seen. So I think being able to bring something a bit more humorous and funny and down to earth into it would be cool. Other than that, anything sport or fitness related would be amazing. Any like Under Armour, Adidas, or any like cool sort of activewear, streetwear brand, always a huge plus. And then the last one as well that I'd love to do one day is any like Honey Birdette or anything like that. The production campaigns they have, the lingerie and just the models and like everything that they do to be able to create such a sexy, I guess, frame is insane. Like I've seen a lot of behind the scenes campaigns of Honey Birdette and they are next level. And I'd love to participate in one of those because although like creating so like those images and then just making them like look so sexy and like, oh my God, is like incredibly difficult, and people think it's easy. It's really, really not. It's really, really hard. And I absolutely love it. So I'd love to have a crack at something like that one day. All right, next question. Is the studio expensive? Yeah. Honestly, I like to call it it just drains you of money, honestly. Even a space this small, so I can only imagine what a bigger space is like, but you really need to make sure that you're pushing on social media, that your marketing's on point, that you're really trying to get people through the door, because at the end of the day, it's this whole vicious cycle that I found of if you're not getting bookings, then those bookings, you can't then use that content that they made of those bookings to then market to people who are seeing you on social media to then make a booking. And it just goes in a vicious circle, because if you're not creating content, because then you're not getting bookings, but if you're not getting bookings, it's because you're not creating content, right? So it all comes in like this weird vicious circle, but it is very expensive. So at the main time, it's just draining my own personal bank account, trying to make, because you got rent, electricity, all the gear, all the furniture, the fit out of this place, the electrical, electricity bills, the internet. There's just so much that you don't consider. Getting it cleaned, every now and then I like to get the furniture like deep cleaned and things like that, because they can get dirty easy. Little things like that add up really, really quick. And it's all out of my own, money that I've sort of saved up. So it gets very, very quick. And when you're forking out a lot of money per month, you're not seeing a return. Sometimes, I'll be honest, it does get a bit of a kick in the guts, and I signed a 6-month 6-month lease for this place. So I think in September is when that runs out. And I've got a really big call to make of whether do I want to sign on for another year and keep this place for another year and hope that I can generate enough momentum and get more people through the door where we can actually cover costs and start to make a profit. Or am I willing to just sit and take that risk of that, more importantly? Or in September, do I throw the towel in, sell everything off, hand the keys back and be like, look, I tried, but it didn't work. And it's tough because I've spoken to a lot of other studio owners and they said, it takes a good 6, 8, 12 months to get a bit of momentum and consistency coming through the door. But I don't have that luxury. When it costs you so much money, like thousands a month, to be in a space like this in a prime location and have all this going, it gets a little bit tough to see why you would just keep that going when you're not seeing any net positive return. You're not seeing I can't even cover costs. We're not getting enough bookings to cover costs. So at this point, because I can create my own content, that's where I'm seeing the value in it. For everyone that does come to here, they absolutely love it and they have a great experience, which is amazing. But for me, I'm in that now between a rock and a hard place of, do I take the risk and keep it for another year, or do I bow out and decide, I tried, this isn't for me, or maybe I'll try again in the future or something like that. But that's where it currently sits. All right, next question. What is an event or experience that set you on your path? I think the biggest thing for me that set me on my path is way back when I did in year 11 a course in photo and video, where I really fell in love with it. I think that was the main switch of like, oh my God, this is awesome. I love this. This is where I want to go. And then I think the biggest thing after that was when I got a job with my old boss at Homes by CMA, that the opportunity that gave me and opened so many doors. My network grew, my contacts, my skills grew, and I was able to have all these opportunities that I never would have got anywhere else at such a young age. I directed my first TV commercial. I've done radio ads. I've created my own billboards that were up all throughout Brisbane, Gold Coast, and Southeast Queensland. I had so many opportunities, YouTube and podcast productions and everything. All this different marketing stuff and expos and whatever it may be. I got from that experience. So now when anyone comes to me or to share with me and be like, hey, we got a billboard campaign, can you help us? I'll be like, yeah, we can. Hey, have you ever had experience with cinema ads? Because we're planning to run something in cinema. Yeah, I do. Hey, looking to potentially do a TV commercial. Got any experience with that? Do you know what the legalities are and stuff? Yeah, I do. So I think it's really helped in that aspect, and it's given me a lot of growth in that aspect. It's also taught me a lot about clients and how to deal with people and negotiations and stuff. So yeah, I would say being there and then leaving that was one of the biggest, if not the biggest, learning curve and aspect that put me on the trajectory I am today. So Chris, if you're watching, huge thank you to you. Okay, let me find these other questions. Where are they? Has AI affected you and any other creators? Oh, this is a big topic at the moment. I think the flat out answer is yes. AI is affecting us in a lot of ways. I think the biggest one is because it's so accessible for anyone, that AI is reducing our jobs in the sense of, for example, we do photo shoots or video shoots, and normally you would make up a lot of your cost in the editing. So you're like, hey, that's going to take 4 or maybe 6 hours to edit. So you're going to charge for those hours, right? But then now with AI, those same things that would normally take 4 or 6 hours are now taking 1 hour or 2 hours, which is great from our point of view because we can be more productive and move on. But now you can only really charge for that 1 or 2 hours. So you've missed out on 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 hours worth of work that you would normally get paid. So you're losing money in that aspect. Then you've got other things like in certain industries where they've introduced apps and AI that anyone can do. There are industries and things out there in, let's say, real estate videography, for example, that I've done many a times and have done way back in my time of starting video, where you don't even need a videographer anymore. There's an app that real estate agents can download, and on that app, it will pop up with prompts on the screen that will tell the real estate agent how to video the property. Walk forward for 15 seconds in the kitchen from this corner, get a close up of this, go out to the master bedroom, do this and that. Once they get all those shots, it uploads into that app, and within that app, within like 2 minutes, it will spit out an edit that has all their contact details and motion graphics. It will have royalty-free sound effects, cool transitions, whatever it may be, and it's high quality, ready to post then and there within 2 minutes. As opposed to, and the best part is that's a monthly subscription of, $249 or $79 a video because you've done it yourself and you've just used an app, as opposed to paying $450, $500, $1,500, $5,000 for a videography company to come out, do that video and do essentially the same thing. Obviously, I think having a team or a videographer come out is going to be a lot better because we obviously do this for a living. But still, imagine in 2 years' time, imagine in 4 years' time, 6 years' time, are we going to become obsolete? I don't know. I don't know what that question is, but it is rapidly happening. Even with photos and things like that these days, with the access of Photoshop, anyone can use Photoshop these days. They just need a subscription. You can download, take a photo, and literally, if you want to change the strawberry on a strawberry milkshake to a lime, you can do that now, and it's super easy. Before, you'd have to spend hours like rotoing it out, brushing it out, cloning it out, and having to replace that. Now, it's literally just draw around it and be like, hey, Photoshop, replace the strawberry with a lime. That's how easy it is. It's scarily easy. The last thing I wanted to touch on is I think a lot of creators are really going to start to see any digital products that they may have become obsolete. They're not going to make any money because one of the newest features of AI, especially for photos, is to color match. So for example, you can take a photo off Instagram or of your favorite photographer and bring that into Photoshop, and then you can upload your photo, and then you can tell Photoshop to color match this, and it pretty much does it identically. It literally does it so well where whatever preset this photographer used, and they might charge $15, $20, $50 for their preset pack, but now you just screenshot their photo, bring that over into Photoshop, and you can copy that exact thing, and you've got the same preset as them now, or the same exact sort of way they edited their photo, and you can even tweak it on your end. Why would you not? Why would you not? Why would you pay for it when you can just do that? Like, it makes no sense. So I think AI is going to cut a lot of creators out. And I think when they bring that and adapt that over into video, that's going to be next level again. In fact, yeah, I just wanted to touch on that. So like all of this mainly applies to photos, but when they bring that video stuff into video editing, and when video editing cuts down, it's like any editing site is slowly going to become more and more obsolete. You're always, I think, going to need someone to hold a camera and have a camera, but think about when iPhones get so good that you're no longer going to need a proper camera because the iPhone camera is just so good. It's going to happen. Maybe not now, maybe not within 2 or 5 years, but it will happen one day. All right, next question. What is it like shooting athletes? Love the vlogs you filmed. Honestly, from a videographer standpoint, the day itself can be quite boring because there is a lot of standing around. You're not really involved in a lot of things. You're just sort of like the fly on the wall filming everything. So it can be pretty boring and mundane at times. However, in saying that, part of what I love about the vlogs and shooting the behind the scenes of the show days and things like that is, for one, coming up with a story to something that necessarily doesn't have a story. their triumphant story of winning, their story of when they actually lost this round, but when they went back 2 weeks later to do nationals, they won, or whatever it may be. Anything like that, I think being able to create that story and that scenario around things is incredible. And that's what I really, really loved. And all these elements throughout show day don't necessarily match or tell a story. They go get tan, they do whatever, they eat, they chill, they get pumped up, they, arrive on the day, they get, hair and makeup, whatever it may be. All of these things are discombobulated, they don't necessarily join, and trying to make that all flow and come together in an actual story can be really, really tough, but it's also really enjoyable and really, really fun in that aspect. So it has its positives and negatives. In terms of then the things like pacing and the way you create the video, that's what I really like as well. For example, with Sam is naturally bubbly and funny and it can integrate a bit of humor. So then you also have to realize that and try and integrate those things into that video to then reflect what Sam's vlogs would actually be like. If they're going to be funny or she's funny, then create that. If they're more a serious person, if they're more a motivational person, then try and incorporate those elements that are going to reflect that person into that video. Because at the end of the day, although you are shooting the video, it's meant to be on their channel for them. It's meant to reflect about them and showcase them, and generally showcase them in a positive way, right? So you want to maintain that. And then the other one is, I think, when shooting these, because you're with someone throughout a really, really challenging time throughout their life, when you're going through a prep and you're with that person every other time, when you're on show day and there's a million things running through their head, I think emotionally you get to really, really see that person for who they are. You get an insight into like the human psyche. It's insane. You get to see the emotions all the way through, from happy, sad, and everything else in between, of what it's really, really like and what they put themselves through. And I think you get that level of respect for that person and vice versa, because you have to be really vulnerable. They have to be really vulnerable with you as a videographer and open up in those times. But also at the same time, you have to really respect those situations and what they are. And I think the relationships you develop with those as well. And I think that's part of the reason why you do become so close with those people, is because you're with them in times that are tough and you're trying to motivate them and just say the right things. And I think a lot of them get annoyed with me because, for me, I want to communicate that emotion across screen as well. So literally probably every hour or 2 hours throughout at least a show day and a prep, I'm always asking them on camera, how are you feeling? Are you okay? What's going on? What are you up to? And I'm sure they get sick of it, and I'm sorry, but for me, that's like my emotional indicator, whatever their response is, on, okay, how are we going to establish this? Where are they sitting? Okay, how are we going to feed this into the story? What are we going to make this? You know what I mean? And how are we going to shoot this? Because if they're sad, I might do more sad shots, make them a little bit more lonely, a little bit more far away, a little bit more dark, whatever it may be. If they're happy, I want to make this part of the scene a little bit more happy, a little bit more energetic, fast cuts, whatever it may be, right? So I think using those things to your advantage as well is another really, really big thing to think about. So that's generally how I would do the vlogs. How do you have so many friends? You know so many people. The honest answer is I actually don't. It's actually being running your own business and being an entrepreneur or whatever other bullshit you want to call yourself is a lonely sport. It is very, very lonely, especially if you don't have a partner, if you don't have a business partner, if you don't have a team around you. Making your own decisions and doing your own thing and just being by yourself all the time it's a lonely sport, and you have to get used to that. And sometimes it does take its toll, of course, like anyone. And I think that's why I like to surround myself with people and be social, because I'm by myself so often. So when I get the opportunity to go be social or hang out with friends, I'm going to jump at it. And I think with that, I have a really great group of close core friends who I call friends and are going to tell me no BS answers, and who I can rely on, and I know that they'll be there for me. But then I have so many acquaintances. And so a lot of those people that you think are friends are actually acquaintances. And I think, it's just really important to understand who is who, because there are so many people who are just going to say they're friends with you and say they're proud of you and they're your whatever because you have something that they want at that time, or you're the hot property at that time. You might have hit the jack mark, you might have exploded with your business or in popularity, whatever it may be. And oh my God, I know you, like sort of thing. Or are they actually your friends for you and who you are? No matter whether you're down in your lows or up in your highs or anything in between, are they genuinely there for you? Are they going to support you and tell you what you need to hear? And they're not just yes men. I think that's really, really important. But now more than ever, I have realized who your acquaintances are and who your real friends are. All right, this one's a bit of a funny one, but it's how to pull chicks with no money. And I know they're joking, especially by the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 laugh emojis that they have in this question, but I'm actually going to answer it kind of seriously. And I think I've got no fucking idea. You're asking the wrong person about this question. But in all honesty, what I would probably do is, like I said, be well groomed, take care of yourself, go to the gym, look good, because then you're going to feel good, you're going to be more confident, and that's going to reflect when you're meeting a new woman or whatever it may be. I think as well, just building that confidence and also just having your shit in order. Generally, people want someone who, they don't necessarily want some unemployed bum. They want someone who's driven, has got goals, is passionate about what they do, and is like ready to make a name for themselves and conquer themselves in whatever aspect they want to do, right? And I think that by having those things and then also taking care of yourself and being well groomed, well presented, well dressed, you're putting yourself at least ahead of all the other people who don't, right? And hopefully you'll meet a nice gal out of it. A little spicy senorita. But yeah, that's what I would do. All right, the last question on here is, how's the podcast going? So I absolutely love doing these podcasts. They're super fun. I get to meet loads of cool people. I have incredible guests coming up. I get to learn so many new things. I hope you guys get to learn so many new things as well. And it just is just super fun. I'm enjoying it. I feel like I get better at speaking and I get better at communicating with people. And I'm just absolutely loving it. And I'm excited for the guests that we have coming up here. And I hope I can keep this going. I don't know what's going to happen if the studio ends up, if we end up going where I'm going to do the podcast, but I'll find a way to make sure it happens. Because I am keen to keep the podcast going. I'm really enjoying it. The next step with the podcast is to look at also getting any sponsors. So if anyone is looking to sponsor the podcast, whether that is play an ad at the beginning, middle, or end, or have like a sponsored product within the podcast, feel free to reach out. Let us know. Obviously, we're just getting started, so we can do it at really affordable, and it gets potentially more eyeballs on your product. Or obviously we can do voiceovers and stuff as well for the audio listeners. So there you have it. This is the Q&A. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope I didn't ramble too much. I don't know how long that went for. I hope you enjoyed it. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you're getting value out of this. And I can't wait to share with you the incredible podcast I have coming up with some incredible guests. And I'm saying incredible guests that I could never believe that I would be able to get on this podcast. So I'm super pumped for everyone. I'll see you very, very soon. And until next time, of course, stay golden.
Watch me now. Watch me now.